our marketing coordinator. He is an amazing human being, and I've had the pleasure of getting to know him over the last few months as we've been working together. Uh, Welcome, Lance. Can you share with people who you are?
Yeah, I'm fixated on the audio quality at the moment. Is there an echo? Anybody hear an echo? We good? All right, I feel good.
Go ahead.
I feel better. Hey, everybody, my name is Lance. I am so happy to be here. I'm actually in Louisiana right now with family, but I currently live in Venice, Italy. I moved there with my spouse a year ago, and then before that, we were in Milan a couple years as well. So I'm very happy. I was sort of going through a kind of between like New York actor, went to school for PR, like lost my way along the way. And this year I just put it out the universe. Like I want to get back into communications and I want to do nonprofit work and I want to help people. So came across NoStigmas and the stars aligned. So I'm beyond happy, like more than a job. And I know we shouldn't say that our jobs like validate our identities, but I think it's mission driven. Like when you work for someone who's, mission or purpose driven, I don't know, it just helps you. I guess overworking can sometimes be the challenge. Setting the limits,
Well,
But anyways, I'm very happy to be here for sure.
Lance and I are very much the same when it comes to pouring ourselves into our work and it being sort of an identity of, so to speak. So I think, as they say, if you're doing something that you love, then you never work in a day in your life. And honestly, that's how I feel since I've been focused on my truth and using my powers for good. So so
it's hard.
Lance, you and your team have been working super hard on Giving Tuesday, and I'm so excited tonight. Can you give everybody who's hanging out with us, hey, our Visible Man group is with us. What's up, Jeff? What's up? And
hey, yeah,
Lou Rand as well. Yeah, we have good crew here. Thanks y'all. So the virtual telethon, break it down for us, Lance.
Okay, so we were in like a kind of a team meeting, I was gonna say 5-ish weeks ago, and Jake mentioned, he was like, "Ooh, Giving Tuesday's coming," and I think you get stuck in your everyday and you forget like, oh yes, let's do something. So Jake mentioned like, what about a telethon or something like that? And I was like, okay. But then Jake went on like a 2-week getaway, like unplugged, off socials,
Which, by the way, this is like the first time that I've ever done this, like taken a full 2 weeks and just not worked. It was amazing. Yeah. And I finally practiced what I've been preaching.
Yeah. And I think it was fine. Everything, like I keep saying, the world keeps turning. The world keeps turning.
Yeah.
So it was, so it was kind of like the rest of our bubble. We're like, okay, let's do it. So we kind of branded it, kind of leaned into the camp of it. And then we have an amazing video editor who donates his time, and he's phenomenal.
He's a legend.
Yeah, he's really phenomenal. And we work together, and then we have a designer on our team. We just have a really great little Avengers assembled. So, so we put it together, and then I guess the idea, and you'll hear it. I mean, this morning I woke up and there were already so many advertisements about Giving Tuesday. So I love that it's a direct sort of combating the commercialism of Giving Friday. I mean, of Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And I just think that, I think it's 11 years ago they started the nonprofit. I think it's great. So I want NoStigmas to be a part of it. And what I think is interesting, and I think that mental health advocacy kind of calls for, is giving of your time, giving of your voice, giving of your heart, giving of your
it's not just about money. It's not just about donations.
Money. Exactly. And that's why it's not, I mean, support is great, but I think the way that we will move the needle forward in safer spaces and supporting people around us. And a lot of our artists that we have invited are different walks of life, different ages, different stories. And they'll all kind of share in their own ways. But the commonality is storytelling. Like and that's what No Stigmas does best, is like tell the stories of human beings going through life, spinning around this marble, trying to,
Do mental health.
do it. And so I think like Giving Tuesday, I was watching a kind of a little live from I forget, some celebrity yesterday, and they were just reminding us, like, it's not about money. Sometimes it's about time, and it could be something as simple as gathering for the holidays and not using stigmatizing language.
Yeah.
Gathering for the holidays, and we lost my grandmother this year, and just last week sat at the kitchen table and said, everybody good? Like, I'm not. Like, like I have my moments, and just it was like an exhale. And I think, like, if you think about Giving Tuesday in that way, it's just a nice reminder of like having those conversations with your family, your friends, your school, your coworkers.
Well, and I think especially with like Thanksgiving and family can be really challenging for a lot of people, especially if you're traveling, and depending on your relationship and boundaries and everything that's going on with that dynamic. Like you can leave a holiday like that, even if you get an extra day, even if it's a 3-day weekend, 4-day weekend, and it can still feel like exhausting. So I like that kind of idea of this being a reset or a centering time. And our, like, what we do is give back to the community, give back to, our people, all the time. And it's like, it's the one time per year that we're like, hey, do you have something to give as well? Although now that I'm thinking about it, like we are also still giving today with our telethon, because we're bringing some like amazing guests and some fantastic people to the mix tonight. It's like pulled out all the stops. Not only do we have like the amazing graphics and like, I love the theme of it. I'm really excited for you all to see it. But and anybody who's been like following on socials has like seen kind of previews of it. But when you see like everything that they've put together like in action, you're gonna like, it's gonna just like blow your mind. But can you share, Lance, the some of the guests who are going to be hanging out with us tonight?
So back up a step. So it was one of those things where, and I love like sometimes the creative process, you don't know where you'll end up, but you just gotta start it. And it was definitely a story of like, if you build it, they will come. And we kind of built this idea.
Virtual field of dreams.
Yes. So we like built this idea of like, okay, we're gonna do some musical performances that are from, allies and advocates. And then I sent out this, if you're on the mailing list, I sent out this sort of announcement, and then just got flooded with people that wanted to be involved, which doesn't always happen, because you would think like, hey, we're announcing an event, we're announcing a festival, we're announcing, the lineup is probably already decided. But behind the scenes, spoiler alert, it wasn't. So we had a couple nailed down, and then I was like, yo, I told Jake, I was like, we're gonna build this as we go. So whenever we had all these people come in, I was like, let's meet. And I don't know if it's because I'm Southern or what, but I can kind of make friends with anybody. So we got on these meetings, and I was like, okay, yep, let's go, And so we have a couple of authors who, one is from Scotland, another is originally from Chicago, but is based in Denver. Both of them one of them has is kind of recovered from an eating disorder, and another has lived with a bipolar disorder for, I think, 30 years, he said, and he wrote a book about it. And the other two, we have another, in our artists, we have 3 artists coming. 2 of them are singer-songwriters based in LA. Kind of, I'd say younger, in the younger kind of pop popish genre. So it's cool to see the perspective of them as well, because they are coming out of this culture of growing, not knowing what it was like to not have social media in their life, period.
Right.
Like they
Yeah.
are from a space of like not knowing what it's like to have anything else. Be like, my niece has said yesterday, what's a dial tone? What's a dial tone? Like, what's a dial tone? Good golly, Miss Molly. So whenever to hear the perspective, and one of them, we have Chloe Wilder and we have Kai Baldwin, and both of them open up about sort of the pressures of growing up and the pressures of having kind of, I know bullying is sometimes overused, but really seeing like peers struggle and how can you be
Yeah.
an ally to those people, not necessarily yourself. And I love that Kai opens up about and told me privately about how almost apologetically, like, I'm sorry I didn't go through depression. I'm sorry I didn't go through, this or that. And I'm like, but you don't have to. It's
You
like
can
you don't
still be
have,
an ally.
yeah,
And he is,
and he
and
is.
that's and it's amazing to see what he does with his gifts, you know.
And he created, he has this wonderful network, and
Yeah.
it's, he's very mindful. I love that everybody that we have involved. We have another performer, Erica E. Wade, who um, is an alum from a rival university, Alabama, from LSU. We met when we were performing competitively in college, and then sort of, I've just always been in awe of her storytelling and her presence. And she went on to grad school and did SCAD, and then she's a screenwriter and a playwright, and had some stuff produced in New York, and is kind of Alabama, LA in between, and just phenomenal. So, but all of them, and I was just saying, another speaker, Jamie McPeak, is a film actress, dancer, performer in South Florida, and is creating like an indie film about mental illness from the perspective of people on the outside of a person and the inside of a person, and sort of what does that look like. And I think, educating people on what it's actually like to live with some of these mental illnesses.
Yeah.
But everybody,
We're really
commonality is
blessed.
storytelling.
Yeah, we're really blessed to have like a fantastic group of individuals who are lending their talent and their voice and their story to what we're doing. And it's like it's the nature of Giving Tuesday, right? Like we were saying
Mm-hmm.
earlier, like people giving and supporting the cause doesn't have to be monetarily. It can
Mm-hmm.
be with your talent. It can be with your voice. It can be with your story. It can be with your time. And that's what we're all about at No Stigmas is, like, yeah, we need money to operate, but
Mm-hmm.
that human powered
Mm-hmm.
projects, like those are what make the world go round. That's what makes the big impact. Our ally
Absolutely.
training, for those who aren't familiar, we have an
Mm-hmm.
online course called the Ally Training. It's completely free. It's no cost. Anybody can go and sign up and learn how to be an ally. You do that through self-care, through peer support, and through advocacy. And that's how we love to see people give back, because once you learn those skill sets, you can take that into your family, into your workplace, into your community, and you can give back by just providing support.
Mm-hmm.
And it's huge. It's huge. So,
Yeah. And
um,
I have four nieces, the oldest of which is 13, which I'm denying that is real. Because I was
my
like,
eldest is 16, my oldest
um,
niece, and she like drove out to my folks for Thanksgiving, and I was like,
who are you? Where'd you?
what? What?
Yeah, she's taller than me, which isn't hard to do, but she's taller than me. And anyway, we were talking, and they're, we're telling our friends, yeah, they're gonna watch the stream, and because I mean, you walk in there, they're not always on screens. I will say my sister is fantastic with the boundaries of screen time. But when they get those screens, they are watching Minecraft live streams on YouTube, and they are watching
Mhm.
cooking like demos of people making things out of pulled sugar. Like, it's a whole thing. So I was like, yeah, great. Give them the devices, and let them go to their dancing, go to their school, and just have it in the back of their mind. Just have it
Yeah.
in, and not grow up thinking, okay, if I just tough it out, it's going to be fine. Or because mental illness in my family, a bit about us, is very challenging. We have lost people to addiction, substance abuse, suicide. My grandmother and her mother were both hospitalized multiple times. My dad is an attempt survivor. My sister is an suicide attempt survivor.
Mm.
It hits tremendously close to home. In fact, I haven't even fully shared everything about myself in this position, and even to Jake, because there's just hasn't been the time. It's not that I don't want to, and there will be that, but it's just been, let's work. But it hits very close to home. So the fact that we're able to be in the interweb and just have these preteens and teens watching these streams, or parents watching these streams, and being just, wow, okay, cool, we can talk about it. And I think one thing that Chloe brings up is, and like I said, Chloe is, I think she's in the end of sort of high school, mid high school, and she brings up like the buzzwordy, and Elizabeth does the same thing. One of our speakers is a veteran of NoStigmas, and she talks about the kind of buzzwordiness of some things. And I think in a positive way, COVID has brought about, okay, let's talk about isolation and depression and anxiety and all these things. But and I think what our mission is for the next, coming into the next year, is like, what actually is that human experience? What does it look like to, and Erica's piece, just to jump around, Erica's piece is called I'm Okay. And she, starts this, she's a spoken word playwright. And so she starts this piece of like acknowledging she woke up and she's not okay. Yeah. And she's running late today. And she knows she runs late a lot. But she says, if you knew how many laps I took around my own head to get myself in a headspace to be in a space with you, like people don't realize like how much it takes out of you sometimes. The other side of it is people don't also realize, I think we don't celebrate the wins enough. It's not all doom and gloom. And Oliver is an author who wrote Befriending Bipolar, based in the UK, and connected with us. And I love in the panel with Jake when he talks about, I don't know if we let it slide because he's from the UK, but he says, I love to like mix humor with like uncomfortable topics and like putting those two things together. And so he says, I like to kind of remember that you're human.
Yeah.
And mixing those things together.
And I think that's part of celebrating, right? Celebrating what makes us human, and like the ugly stuff. That's part of like, we all have these thoughts that if we shared, people would like look at us weird or judge us, like, and I think sometimes like shining a light on that and being like, hey, we're all a little messed up. And, regardless of whether we experience trauma, like we all just have like messed up stuff that goes through our heads, and that's okay. It's okay to like to be that messy and ugly, and like we can still also be kind and beautiful and productive and contribute.
Productive is such a good word. Productive is such a good word. Such a good word. Because there are so many, I think, and if you identify with going through, like I said with Erica, like having to talk yourself up to show up to a meeting on time, or to show up at, a family function on time. There's so much, like I do that to myself. I put so much pressure on myself to be ultra hyper productive. And there are days where, Jake has kind of given the team this wonderful, like in the first time I met him, he said, what are your boundaries? How do you maintain work-life balance? I was like, no one's ever asked me that. Like the fact that no one ever has asked me that. I'm like in the 30s now, and I'm like, what? No one's ever asked me that. No one really cares.
I'll get back to you on that one.
You got to go. Yes, you do. but it's like but the point is, what I'm trying to say is that I think speak for myself, put a lot of pressure to be hyper productive, and it's built into us. It's like built into my
Yeah.
family. Like we're going
Well,
to push
especially
through.
American culture.
We're going to push through this. We're
Yeah.
going to get through this, and we're going to be productive today. And it's like, what is productive? Because maybe productive means we take a nap.
Yeah. Sometimes just, getting out of bed and like
Yeah.
brushing your teeth is a
Hmm.
win. And,
Hmm.
if you get up, there's a long time ago, I read this kind of like approach to depression, and it's like called like setting your mental strength bar.
Mm,
And, every day, that fluctuates. It can
mm,
go up and down depending on where you're at, depending
mm-hmm.
on, what's going on in your life, and, your mental health and your physical health, and how everything is mixed. Like that mental strength bar is going to change on a daily basis, and understanding where it's at and setting a reasonable, um,
Like
goal for
expectation
yourself,
of yourself.
expectation
I
of
love
yourself
that.
for
Oh
the
man, I love
day,
that.
is okay. And
Hmm.
of course, that's balanced by not, resting on your laurels and giving yourself, excuses and saying like, I can't, that
Right,
personal responsibility is important
right.
too. But can we like give ourselves a break when we need it, and just say like, it's okay if I don't produce in the traditional sense of the word.
100%.
So, and I think that's what I appreciate about like everyone who's on the panel tonight. And because we haven't even talked about like the fact that we have this panel that we share these human experiences. But I think like what strikes me is that like we have such a
Mhm.
varied background of people who um, are different genders. They love different kinds of people, and they look different, and they're from different parts of the world.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
yet like there's this moment when we're talking on the panel, and we're just like, oh my gosh, we're all the same in this. Like we've all had these
I know.
experiences, and
I
we're
know.
so different, but we're the same. And it's like, whoa, it's so cool to be connected like that.
I know. I know. And I just love the idea of putting it all out there. Erica talks, and she, eh, uh, you will be seeing Erica again. You'll be seeing all these people again. Like
Yeah, for sure.
we're gonna collaborate and really dive in. But I mean, the conversation was an hour, and what you see is an extraction of that, and it's just like we had to jump to get through it. But if I just love that everybody that we have shared, and it's not just these people, like people who have that I have that I'm a new kid on the block, and I'm still like I'm coming into these relationships that I've seen, wow, okay, you've been with No Stigmas since its inception. You've been with No Stigmas since, the last 5, 7 years. Like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to be educated on the longevity of these voices and these advocates and allies. And so they're all, it's just this group is like building to the momentum.
Yeah.
It's not an isolated sort of magical, it's not a unicorn. Oh wow, all these people. It's like no, they're many, and the more
Yeah.
that we can, and in the next year we're going to be doing a lot more digital storytelling. There's going to be a huge YouTube push. There's going to be a huge podcasting, and I think you know just plug it in and listen. Just plug it in and listen. If you just
Yeah.
you never know. You never know. It would help you, but also it may help you to understand what someone in your life is going through, or how you can show up for them, and you know.
And I think that's how, what being an ally is all about, and being an advocate for a cause like mental health
Mhm.
equity,
Mhm.
and, is just like putting yourself out there, being open to other people's experiences, being, putting yourself in their shoes, trying to be understanding and empathetic. And even if you don't understand, accepting
Mhm.
who they are,
Mhm.
and what they are, and then also being vulnerable
Yep.
enough to be able to share your truth with others.
Yep.
That, like, if we can all just take a moment to like set the ego down, set the
Mm,
pride down,
mhm.
and like think about the fact that like, yes, we're individuals and we have
Commonalities.
needs
Mhm.
and that, but we're also a community and we're also connected, and what we do affects other people.
Yeah.
We can find beautiful harmony, I think.
That reminds me of, I think it came up in the panel, and I know it came up in conversations when I was getting to know these advocates, but the kind of the conversation of um, a diagnosis acceptance,
Mm,
like coming into a diagnosis, and then what
yeah.
does that mean? Because there's people reject them, people accept them, people get second, third, fourth opinions. There's
Yep.
traditional, there's like I say traditional, um, there's different approaches. You can do holistic approaching, you can do pharmaceuticals, you can do a combination, talk
Yep.
therapy. There's so many different routes that you can take that works for you. Um, but I love that we brought it up. You brought it up in the panel. Like it became a conversation of like, how did receiving a diagnosis help you? How did it,
Yeah.
because it's a fine line. It sounds like between, okay, I want to, Erica said it. She goes, I want to know what is going on with me. I just want to understand it because
Yeah.
my whole life I felt that something's off. I don't understand it. I can't come to terms with it. I feel very alone because nobody's saying, this is actually, other people go through this and here are some strategies to help you, in that way. But
Yeah.
um, accepting, like putting me in the box and then letting myself take myself out of that box. I kind of love that.
I think that's fantastic. And
Like,
that's
so I can accept it and it helps me make sense of it. I
right.
myself have come into some diagnoses in the last 10 years that I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And then now I'm like, okay, but I'm not going to put those
Live
things in.
and die by it.
Right. And I'm
Yeah.
not going to talk about it every day. It's not going to be the first thing I wake up thinking about.
Yeah.
I'm much more than that. I have other things, and
Yeah.
I'm not, okay, well, I'm not going to, there was some, I had the pharmaceutical conversations over and over again. And at
Yeah.
one point was on 4 different medications. So at the same time. And anyways, just
Yeah, and I think that's what a diagnosis can do, is good for. It's like a generally accepted set of parameters and symptoms
mhm,
that enough people have experienced that they
yeah.
needed to put it into a book and um, create an
Well, you want
understanding
to
around it.
name,
You know,
yeah, it's like you want to name the shadow in the corner. You want to be like, okay,
yeah.
there's the Death Eater. He's coming. Like,
Yeah, it was so
it's
helpful. I I think depression and death theater are
oh,
great.
it's
There's a lot of symbiosis there.
pretty perfect. Yeah, it's like okay, okay,
Yeah.
all right,
But then,
and
to your
then
point, like
mhm,
not being beholden to that and not being
mhm,
like so entrenched in this identity, like identifying yourself as, your
right,
diagnosis so that you can never break free of it. Um,
hmm,
and a lot of people have different philosophies and views and around like whether it's a lifelong thing or whether it's something you can recover from, and and
hmm,
like not getting into that debate. It's like what you define and what you do with
right,
it, and how you can simultaneously accept and
hmm.
break free, and that's true mindfulness, I think.
Yeah, I love kind of in our family right now because we grew up very not talking about mental health. We always wondered, like, and I think I've told Jake privately, we've always wondered, like, what happened to that great aunt? What happened to that uncle? What happened to this person? And they just disappeared one day, and you didn't
Mm,
understand why. You
yeah.
didn't know. I just found out this holiday. I just found out that my great grandfather served in Iwo Jima, was in like the Fourth Infantry.
Wow.
Can't I never understood why he was this not favorable person in our family tree. I never understood like what like okay, yeah, he's just not a good guy. But it was because he had experienced trauma. Like he and our family never talked about it. We never
Right.
addressed it. We never went through
Right.
it. We're like, I didn't even know he was in the military. I mean, it was
Like
put it
that
under the
explains so
rug,
much.
put it under the rug, don't talk about it, and then
Yeah.
and all of the substance abuse that came behind it. But, just in our family, just this evolution of even little things like not saying they are bipolar,
Yeah. Yeah.
like not
They
saying that. Like
they have bipolar disorder, or they live
live
with.
with it. Yeah, stuff like that. It's just
Yeah.
and maybe it's cultural. I don't know, but
No, but I mean, we don't say like they are cancer,
but
and so there
ding
there
ding.
are a couple diseases
I'm gonna
that
give
are.
myself a heart. I'm gonna give you a heart on this live. Yeah, ding ding. They are not. Yeah, they're not cancer. It's
Yeah.
you know.
So as we wrap up here,
This is what
what
happens, everyone. If you want to come to
I
a
know.
team meeting, this is what happens. It's like
This is what happens.
there's an
Like
agenda and then there's not an
Lance and I will
agenda.
go on tangents for
It's a
ages.
problem
So
sometimes.
so for the Giving
Mhm.
Tuesday virtual telethon tonight, why the heck? What was your parting thought on
Mhm.
why people should show up tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time to hang out with us?
Okay, first, if you're wondering, as Jake pointed out, that's kind of late. It's kind of late.
Well, that's what
Um,
I said, but
it's kind of late. I was like, well,
I
but
go
think
to
about
bed
it.
early and I wake up at 5 a.m.
I
So
know. Well,
that's
think about it. Everybody, this is a lot of people's first day back at work after the holiday weekend, and we wanted it to be a convenient time for you to be home, and if you're, I know that my family will be watching it YouTube on the TV on the couch. So that's kind of the logic, and it kind of crosses because we have this wonderful 4 time zone family. So no, I think my final thoughts would be tune in. If you can't tune in the moment, just it obviously will be up on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, and then immediately after we'll post it on Instagram. I think it's just a cool celebration of advocates. You'll hear their stories. Hopefully, you identify with them, but more importantly, I think you uh, may walk away thinking, oh wow, I never thought of it like that, or I never saw it like that, or this kind of reminds me of a classmate I have, or and obviously you're not going to go around telling people who they are and how they feel, but it may bring about an awareness level for you that you maybe haven't experienced. I know we have a
yeah.
lot of people coming in from all of our advocates communities, so it's going to be a good get to know you for No Stigmas and introducing us to them. You can watch it on um, I love YouTube. I'll just say it. I'm a YouTube person. I will watch podcasts.
That's
I will
okay. You
watch.
don't need to apologize.
I will.
But
I
like,
will watch everything. I mean,
if you're a
sometimes it's
LinkedIn nerd like me, though, you can tune in on
tune in on
LinkedIn
LinkedIn as
tonight,
well.
or
Uh
Twitter
huh.
or Facebook.
Yeah, it'll be everywhere. So if you wherever you are scrolling at 8 p.m. Eastern, it'll
Just
be
search
there
at No Stigmas,
at No
and
Stigmas.
you'll find us.
And our hashtag is uh, No Stigmas Giving Tuesday. So you can, find us that way, or share your, screenshots, or you're watching it. Um,
And folks, I will be live tonight. So we're going to share like some pre-recorded videos
yes.
and, some of the like the panel and stuff pre-recorded, but I'm going to be live. So if you're on tonight and you chat
Hmm.
with us, we have this cool, studio set up here. So no matter what platform you're on, if you chat, if you comment, I'm going to see that so I can talk to you in real life, in real time. I can give you a shout out, answer your questions. So just know that that's going to be happening as well.
Yeah,
So
I'm really excited.
looking
And you'll
forward to
find it.
seeing you all tonight.
Yeah, and you'll find it if we also have an event, but if you just go to it'll stream as well to just the No Stigmas, Facebook page as well. So it'll be
Yeah, yeah.
everywhere. I'm excited, and even
Everywhere.
if it'll be everywhere. But like I said, and just a reminder, just like we said when we started this, in case you're coming in later, is just to remember the value of giving of your time,
Yeah.
giving of your heart, giving of the minutes at a family table, um, classmates at school, and getting to know No Stigmas programming, and understanding like what is a trauma aware interaction, what is it,
Mm.
how do you go into spaces and be mindful instead of just writing someone off as, well, they're this today. It's like, well, wait a second, what happened in their life? So I just want to encourage everybody to remember giving is not just financial. And you can go to nostigmas.org, click learn more, and you can find all the resources you need, or you can click on the homepage, contact us, and go straight to the contact form, or nostigmas.org/donate if you are very efficient.
Nice.
Lots of links.
Amazing. Thank you all for joining us. We really appreciate it. It was
Yeah,
good to see some familiar faces, and Dragon of Kai. I saw you
I know.
there
I see that
again.
too.
Um, and yeah, lots of fantastic people.
Cool.
Thanks for
And thank
being
you for
here.
watching this on a replay. We really appreciate it. We see you.
See you. See y'all later
Yeah,
tonight.
tonight, 8/7
8
Central. Woo!
8, 7 Central.
All right. Bye, Jake.
Bye, guys.